Treehouse of Horror XI is the first episode of the 12th season of The Simpsons, which first aired in November 2000. The installment features the segments Ghost Dad, a parody of the 1990 film of a similar name when Homer must do one good deed before he can get into heaven. Scary Tales Can Come True, a retelling of the classic story Hansel and Gretel when Bart and Lisa seek shelter in a gingerbread house owned by a witch, and Night of the Dolphin, an amalgamated homage to the 1963 film The Birds and the 1973 movie Day of the Dolphin when the animal rises up against humankind.
I, King Snorky, hereby banish all humans to the sea!
The episode is also notable for its title sequence because it's widely considered to be one of the best openings of the Halloween Specials, as it serves as a parody tribute to the iconic television series The Munsters. In retrospect, it's weird that it took so long, over a decade, for The Simpsons to pay respect to the Munsters during the celebrated Halloween Specials, given that the Munsters are one of the most celebrated horror-themed TV series of all time, and that one of The Simpsons co-developers, James L. Brooks, had previously had a close working relationship with the Munsters co-creator, Allan Burns. Though, given some of the results of that working relationship, maybe that's exactly why it took so long for The Simpsons to pay respect to the show, because Brooks didn't want to draw attention to his and Burns' earlier collaborations.
What does it take to convince you it's me, Mom?
At its core, The Munsters is a satire of American suburbs, though it also skewers idealized pop culture while also paying tribute to the classic monster movies from the early to mid-1900s.
You are a wise man, Van Helsing.
The show depicts the home life of a family of benign monsters. The household is made up of Herman, who resembles Frankenstein's monster, his wife Lily, a vampire, her father, Grandpa, also a vampire, Herman and Lily's son, Eddie, a werewolf, and Marilyn, Herman and Lily's niece, who is the only member of the family that isn't a monster at all and is conventionally normal.
There's something coming up out of the floor, and it's got fangs.
That's just my little cousin Eddie.
The character designs for the family members were heavily informed by the various monster movies produced by Universal Pictures from around the 1930s to the 1950s, which became famous for their iconic supernatural creations, specifically their incarnations of Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, the creature from the Black Lagoon, the Mummy, and the Wolfman.
Such years ran to a predestined end.
Because Universal Pictures jointly produced the Munsters, the series was able to employ the copyrighted designs. The premise and running gag of the show is that the overtly different family, with their strange appearances and tastes, consider themselves to be just like any other typical American family, much like their rival series, also about another unusual family unit, The Addams Family, which aired on ABC in direct competition with The Munsters on CBS. The original series of The Munsters ran for just 2 seasons, from September 1964 to May 1966, consisting of 70 episodes. The show was cancelled after its ratings dropped. However, the series soon found both a large audience and cultural relevance in syndication, which ultimately led to numerous spin-offs and reboot series, along with telemoves over the years that range from being good to ambitious to, unlike The Simpsons' efforts, downright terrible. Despite the short run of the original Munsters series, it had a major impact on pop culture, particularly because of its iconic theme music. However, although the series got the music perfect right from the start, the actual title sequence took some work. The intro for the first season is respectable in its own right, as each of the family members meet in the foyer of their mansion before heading off on their respective ways for the day. However, the title for the second season is the intro that the show became known for. Given the popularity of the second opening, it was the perfect thing for The Simpsons to do a parody of as their first major tribute to the show. For Treehouse of Horror XI's intro, the opening features Homer as Herman, Marge as Lily, Lisa as Marilyn, Bart as Eddie, and Grandpa as Grandpa Munster, while Maggie is completely absent. And the reason for her absence soon becomes obvious given what ultimately happens to the family. The Simpsons parody plays out much the same as the Munsters intro, although it's then suddenly subverted when an angry mob of townspeople approach the family in an ominous fashion that's a reference to the 1931 cinematic adaptation of Mary Shelley's 1818 novel Frankenstein. The mob attack the family, staking Marge and Grandpa, setting Homer alight, and clamping a bear trap on Bart's head, leaving only Lisa unharmed with a garlic clove around her neck. She then casually walks away, as if she never had any connections to the monstrous creatures. Although this was The Simpsons' first detailed reference to the Munsters, and by extension Brooks and Burns' previous working relationship, there have been other references to the show both before and after Treehouse of Horror XI.
Being in the public eye didn't mess me up one bit.
By far, the most notable work that Brooks and Burns produced together is The Mary Tyler Moore Show, about an unmarried independent woman focused on a career as an associate producer at a news show that the two co-created. The series ran from September 1970 to March 1977, consisting of 168 episodes over 7 seasons. And despite being dramatically different, the series had just as much of a cultural impact as the Munsters due to its themes of individuality and empowerment.
Did I just hear Mary tell Ted to shut up on the air? Yeah. Good.
However, Brooks and Burns' first collaboration together was much less impressive. My Mother the Car is a fantasy comedy series that aired from September 1965 to April 1966, consisting of 30 episodes over a single season. And true to the title, the series details a mother-son relationship after a woman is reincarnated as a car.
Now, son, take it easy. You'll probably go through the roof when you hear this, but this is your mother talking.
If the show is remembered at all, it's because, beyond the strange concept, it's famous for having numerous accomplished figures in the television industry beyond Brooks and Burns involved in the series, only for it to be a monumental failure. The Simpsons had subtly referenced My Mother the Car in the 24th episode of the 8th season, The Simpsons spin-off Showcase, which first aired in May 1997. The installment is a concept episode that revolves around the premise of producing intentionally terrible spin-off series, one of which is The Lovematic Grandpa. The sitcom stars Moe as he takes dating advice from Grandpa Simpson after he died and he spirit-possessed Moe's love-testing machine. The segment is complete with a cheesy intro that details the premise of the would-be series, just like My Mother the Car.
Believe it or not, my mother did decided she'd come back as a car.
He floated up toward heaven, but got lost along the way.
Later, 3 years after Treehouse of Horror XI first aired, The Simpsons made direct reference to Brooks and Burns' working relationship with the title of their second episode of the 15th season, My Mother the Carjacker, when Homer's mother returns to Springfield, which first aired in November 2003.
Look! I'm riding by myself!
In terms of references to the Munsters in The Simpsons, the initial one was in the first episode of the 11th season, Beyond Blunderdome, which first aired in September 1999. In the episode, Homer is brought in to help the then A-list celebrity Mel Gibson to make his next movie because Gibson thinks Homer is the only person who's actually honest with him.
Your movie was more boring than church. All you did was yak, yak, yak. You didn't even shoot anybody.
In one scene, the Simpsons go to the Hollywood Auto Museum where the iconic Munstermobile can be seen. Later in the 11th season, there's another reference to the Munsters in the 7th episode, 8 Misbehaving, which first aired in November 1999. In the installment, Apu and Manjula have octuplets and unintentionally allow a zookeeper to exploit their children in exchange for help from corporate sponsors. After Apu realizes that his kids are being exploited, Butch Patrick, who played Eddie Munster in the original series, helps convince Apu that it's perfectly safe for children to work in the entertainment industry.
What does make sense is putting your children in the hands of Mr. Kidkill here.
Later, in another Halloween special, Treehouse of Horror XVI, the 4th episode of the 17th season, which first aired in November 2005, Bart again appears as Eddie Munster. The third segment, I've Grown a Costume on Your Face, is a tribute to the Twilight Zone episode The Mask, when Springfield citizens are forced to become real-life incarnations of whatever costume they happen to be wearing, which leads to Bart becoming an actual werewolf. There's another Munsters reference in a later Halloween special, Treehouse of Horror XXI, the 4th episode of the 22nd season, which first aired in November 2010. The third segment, Tweenlight, is a parody of the phenomenally successful book and film series Twilight, in which Lisa falls for a vampire. In one scene, Homer has to go to Dracula La Land, during which he sees Grandpa Munster.
This place has every kind of vampire there is.
Additionally, outside of the TV series, The Simpsons have also paid respect to the Munsters in the form of merchandise. A little over a year after Treehouse of Horror XI first aired, in December 2001, The Simpsons finally released a follow-up to their original 1993-94 trading card set. This second series was called Simpsons Mania and consisted of 72 cards. The collection includes a set specifically dedicated to the show's Halloween specials, and card number 41 is a reference to The Simpsons' earlier parody of the Munsters entitled The Simpsters. Though, unlike the Treehouse intro, this tribute is in color. The Simpsons have also referenced the Munsters in a variety of throwaway lines over the years.
Leon, what's his name? Herman Munster Motorcade. Your mother and I have become a legendary party couple, like Scott and Zelda Munster.
It's Grandpa!
Munster?
No, Simpson.
Oh, darn.
At their core, both the Munsters and the Simpsons are satires of Western culture, especially mainstream American society. So, it's odd that it took so long for the shows to come together in a meaningful way, a fact that's made even weirder given Brooks and Burns' history. Still, when that crossover finally happened, it was well and truly worth the wait, regardless of how brief it may have been, as the Simpsons homage managed to perfectly capture the aesthetic and humor of the Munsters, while also paying respect to Frankenstein and even throwing in some self-deprecation, all within around just 45 seconds of screen time to produce arguably the best tribute to the Munsters that you'll ever see.
Mm-hmm.